Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Chasing 70 Degrees. My name is Travis, and in this video, I'm going to be installing the JLT 3.0 oil separator or oil catch can. Now, the 3.0 doesn't stand for the version like version 1, version 2, version 3. It simply stands for 3 ounces, and that's how much gunk this is going to go ahead and collect and hold for us. Again, you're going to want to empty this thing out periodically, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get through the install process. Now, I'm gearing up for probably 15,000 miles in about 8 or 9 months here, starting at the end of April. So I figured it would be a great idea to go ahead and get this oil catch can installed. This was one of the parts that you would see, or that I would see often as, hey, this is one of the top 5 things that you should buy for under $250 to go ahead and get installed in your truck. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've got a 2018 Ford F-150 3.5 liter EcoBoost. And let's go ahead and take a look at the parts that are going to come with this. I've got to say the instructions for this, which I have a link to in the description below. I went ahead and scanned them in so you could take a look at the instructions, and they are incredibly detailed. I was really shocked at how good the JLT instructions were. I also have a second link in the video below in the description from American Trucks, and the gentleman there did an insane job going through the history and the science as to why you would want to install one of these in any truck really, and specifically in the earlier EcoBoosts right up to 2015, and why you would still want to install it after 2015. He talks about the valve coking, he talks about the compression, and how everything works. And so it gets into the science that I'm not going to get into because, again, I don't truly understand what happens there. But again, if I can get this installed, you can get this installed, and that's how easy it is. I have an affiliate link down below where you can pick this up on Amazon. They also sell one that has a silver catch can. Wasn't a fan of that. I'm not really a big fan of a silver look in the engine area for something like this. And so I went ahead and I went with the all blacked out version. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the parts that we've got and that come with the kit that we're going to use to get everything installed. And this time I'm going to make sure that I differentiate between the Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. If you were watching my video on putting in the K&N cold air filter. All right, let's take a look at the parts. All right, so here are all the tools we're going to need to get it done. And I first want to go ahead and highlight the directions here. As you can see, these things are absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to set them right there for now. But let's take a look at what we've got. So we've got the oil catch can right here. And so that's what that actually looks like close up. And it's 3 ounces, right? So that's how much gunk it's going to hold. Here are the 2 tubes that are going to replace the tubes that are currently in the Ford F-150. One is at a 90-degree angle, and this one's going to go to the PCV receptacle, which is a one-way valve. That'll go to the PCV valve. And then this is going to go to the intake manifold here, and we're going to pop the old ones out. And so what do you need to get it done? You need a Phillips head screwdriver, not a flathead, a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm probably going to do some tie wraps in there after we remove there's this little battery harness thing that's on the battery tray that we're going to pop out. So I'm probably just going to tie wrap that down. 10mm socket. Again, this is optional. They recommend that you drill a second hole into that battery harness thing in order to more securely fasten this to the battery harness. And this is the JLT oil separator holder. The catch can goes right in here, right at the top. You're going to screw that in, and that's really what we've got, with the exception of you've got, what do we have? The mounting bracket, which you just looked at. You got the 2 fine thread machine screws, which are the 2 small guys right here. Those go in the top of the bracket on the catch can bracket in order to hold the catch can. You've got the 2 J-clips, and those are going to clip into that battery tray on the outside. Then you've got the 2 M6 bolts, and we've got 2 M6 lock nuts that are going to go underneath. And this is, again, you would need a 10mm. They say a wrench. I'm going to take the extender off of this in the hopes that with simply the socket and the ratchet that I'm going to be able to stabilize those to tighten these guys down into that battery tray. All right, well, let's go ahead and get things started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the engine cover, and that's also going to require the 10mm ratchet and socket in order to get it done. All right, well, let's get under the hood and let's get this installed. All right, so here we are in the engine. You can see this is the engine cover. That's where you're going to need the 10mm socket to go ahead and get this to pop off. And again, you just kind of lift up on it, and I'm doing it from the left-hand side, the passenger side of the vehicle here, and that's going to come up. There were the two screws, right? Just two small screws that hold that in. Again, one sits down in here, the other one sits down in there. So we get those out and let's pop this guy off. All right, now with those off, we've got exposed what we need, and that is the intake manifold here, and there's one of the connectors. The other one's the 90-degree, and that's going to be the PCV valve right there. And so the catch can is going to be installed right in here, and this is this little ledge, and you can see they've got this little harness thing is in here with like a Christmas tree tab. So I'm going to pop that out, and then we're going to drop in the JLT oil separator bracket, and we'll get a couple holes drilled here, or one hole drilled anyway, and then we'll get this installed. Okay, so here is the little Christmas tree bracket that was holding in this harness right here that was harnessed into the battery, and you can see, and I'll bring you in close, there's the hole that the little Christmas tree bracket was using. So we're going to reuse that hole, and then a little bit further up here we're going to set the JLT bracket in, and we're going to drill a new hole. Now I'm using a 7/32 bit size bit on that to drill this hole. And so here's what's going to happen. We're going to take our bracket, and the bracket would normally sit in here like this, right? And so you can kind of see how the bracket's going to sit in there normally. And so we need to kind of line up the hole here that does exist from the Christmas tree bracket. And I'm actually going to flip this upside down and drop one of the M6 bolts in to kind of stabilize it while I drill the hole. And so to do that, I'm going to flip it around. I'm doing this with one hand here. Flip it around like this, and I'm going to set it in here like so. There we go. So I'm going to set it in there like this, and I'm going to put one of those M6 bolts through the hole, and then I'm going to drill the extra hole that we're going to need. All right, well, let me get that hole drilled, and I'll come back when we've got this sitting up on top. Okay, so you should be able to see we've got the 7/32 size bit, went ahead and drilled the second hole there. We've got the M6 bolt right here that's kind of stabilizing it, and I did have to hold it with my hand because it does want to tend to like float that way. So we've got that all done. Now let's go ahead and we'll get this installed, and we'll come back once we've got the bracket standing up right here and all screwed in, bolted, and secured, ready for the JLT oil separator to be screwed in. Okay, so a couple key takeaways here. I went ahead, put the tie wrap here, and just loosely put it on there. That way it's not flapping around. And I left this, the chassis, this wire chassis here, on the inside of the catch can. I didn't have it out here on the outside. I just left it here. And let me tell you right now, when you go to drill the second hole, make sure that you're centered up, because mine moved a little to the left, and that's why you see a clamp here, but not a clamp over here. The clamp actually, when it goes in for this one over here, because I drilled it too far to the left, it wouldn't work. So I had to pop the clamp out and go without the clamp. I do have the bolt underneath, the M6 bolt underneath. This one does have the clamp and the bolt as well, and this is on here, you know, really good. Again, I'm putting some pressure on that, shaking it around. So it's on here really good. The other thing is you're definitely going to need a wrench. I thought I could get a ratchet back down in here and ratchet on both sides. Not going to happen. There is no room in there to do anything. All right, so here's what's next. We're going to go ahead and attach the JLT oil catch can. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop off the intake manifest and then the PCV valve, and we're going to get this hooked up and ready to go. All right, so now we're going to remove the Ford part here that connects to the PCV, and the key is this little tab right here, and you want to push down on this tab. See, get you a little closer here. You push down on that tab, and then that, whoops, I just put it back on. And that's gonna bring it up and off of the PCV one-way valve. And so that's that one. And then over here on this one, it's underneath here. I definitely recommend wearing some gloves. And it's the same thing. If you push down, and I'm not gonna be able to see it, I don't think too well, it should pop right off. And there we go. So there's the intake manifold connection. There's our PCV, and here is the old Ford part. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's get the catch can connected up here, screwed in on the top there, and then we'll get those two connectors popped in, and that'll be it. All right, so before we get these hooked up, the sheer amount of cable here, right, or hose, that comes off the JLT oil catch can, it was way too much to run directly here. So I'm gonna do the same thing that the guy in the American Trucks video did. I'm gonna bring it under this pipe right here. And as you can see, this is gonna be our 45-degree angle into the intake manifold. And then we've got over here, the PCV, and let me give you a better shot of what I did there. I just kind of pushed it down a little bit, and then it's gonna connect in here at a 90-degree angle. I wanna show you on the new JLT, if you push, where's it at here? See if I can get it. If you push on this, you can see that pushes these green things back. So it's gonna be pushing the side here as opposed to like some little tab that you pull up or down on, right? So here you would push in order to get those out. And so here's all we're gonna do now is I'm gonna drop this one here and push it open there, and it should drop right on. Try not to break it. And then this one here at the 45-degree angle. All right, so here we are with everything fully installed. You can see the intake manifold tube leads there and then curls nicely up underneath the engine cover. Had no problem getting the engine cover back on. Got both of the bolts back on there, and then you've got the PCV tube that leads right over there, goes up underneath. And so the final test is, I guess I should probably turn this thing on to make sure the oil doesn't come shooting out all over the engine block. Let's see what happens. All right, so everything looks good so far. I don't see any oil spouting out all over the engine block. So I think we're gonna be good. All right, let's take it back in the garage and let's get this all wrapped up. All right, well, that is gonna do it for the JLT 3.0. Remember, that means 3 ounces, not version 3. So the JLT 3.0 oil separator or oil catch can. I'm gonna check back in with you guys at 5,000 miles from where I'm at right now to see just exactly how much junk that thing is gonna collect up and to see how it goes. Again, key takeaways here, you definitely wanna get a small, very small 10mm wrench to get those bolts underneath the 2 M6 bolts that go down into the battery holding case thing that's in there, because I thought I could get a ratchet under there. It was not happening. Also, remember to remove the Ford parts. You're pulling up on that white little tab there. On the PVC, PCV, it's very clear to see on the PCV valve. On the intake manifold, it's underneath where you got to reach underneath and pull it, and then the thing just pops right off. Didn't see any oil on the ground. Everything looks good so far. So as always, hey, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Hopefully this is going to make a difference and maybe extend the life of my EcoBoost 3.5 liter V6 a little bit longer than it would without that. And again, you can check out the links down below. I've got the Amazon affiliate link to pick up that same separator that I've got. And there's a link to the American Trucks video where he goes into a lot of the science behind it. But again, makes it really understandable. And, hey, I'd rather have it in there than not have it in there. And we'll see how it's running in 5,000 miles. All right, as always, thank you guys so much for watching and enjoy the chase.